What is up? Welcome to the NBA Rundown, brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Spread Astaire, joined today by Hoop. And boy, you are a busy man right now in the golf streets, the Major League Baseball streets, and of course, making those NBA cores and cashing those lineups. How things been with you, Hoop?
Yeah, everything's going well. Busy time. MLB starting up full swing here. Got the NBA playoffs obviously kicking off. So, busy. Got PGA going. So, a lot going on, but that's what makes it fun.
All right, and I thought last night was a lot of fun. So let's get right into that, and we'll bring Tyler in as well, get his thoughts on everything. But yeah, I'll start with you, Hoop. What did you think of the two games last night? Any major takeaways from the Nets Cavaliers and then the Clippers versus the Timberwolves?
Basically, I mean the Nets game. That's kind of what I expected. I mean, I figured the Nets would win that game. They did. Kyrie looked amazing. I think he's phenomenal. We'll kind of talk about the Nets and Celtics series here in a few, but that game didn't surprise me one bit. And then the Timberwolves obviously got it done despite Karl Anthony Towns just being such a fraud. I mean, just so fraudulent, just awful out there. So that didn't surprise me, but they were able to overcome that obviously and get the win.
Yeah, a great win for the Timberwolves, and I was excited for them and their fans. A little more excited than Chuck and Kenny. Touch on a couple things that you said. Yeah, Cleveland, right? They missed a lot of open shots in that first half, and I think that really hurt them because Brooklyn wasn't playing excellent defense. I kind of liked the looks that Cleveland was getting, but they were missing, which allowed Brooklyn to get out in transition. And once they got into rhythm and they had that lead, it just felt like, okay, well, now they're playing for the cover, and they did get the cover. So hey, I like you guys, right? I was on Cleveland. I like that. And then in that Clippers game, Towns, man, it seems all up here because I've watched him be brilliant this year, and it felt like he wasn't patient. He was rushing. And then he got into a tit for tat with the referee where he disagreed with some foul calls, but then rather than letting it go, he tried to accentuate every time that there was contact on him. And it just made him look silly. And he wasn't concentrating on the game. And I've read articles where they talk to these NBA refs about people talking to them, and they don't want to be shown up. It's fine to do stuff, but they say, hey, the guys like LeBron and KD, they do it right. They say, hey, yeah, I did that, but watch for this, right? And then they leave it at that.
Yeah.
And Towns, it's like he wouldn't let it go. It was like he looked like a little kid whose brother, right, convinced him to do something, and he kept trying to show his parents that it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
So really disappointed, but of course he has a chance to make that up because they did get the win and they will be the 7th seed. Tyler, what were your takeaways from last night?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what we touched on yesterday, these teams that didn't have experience coming into those games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've seen it in the first quarter. Minnesota couldn't buy a bucket. What, they had like 13 points. They were like 5 for 17 with 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. A lot of those points coming from the free throw line. And then Cleveland was down 20 after the first quarter. They got punched right in the mouth. So I think that's another thing to look out for here tonight. Would say the Spurs, because you can't really look for it in the Charlotte game because Charlotte was in the play-in last year. And Atlanta went all the way to the conference finals, but something to keep an eye on with these teams with a little less experience in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'll be interested. So, guys, just the format today, because we do have a packed house kind of for tomorrow and Friday for our Western Conference and Eastern Conference previews. I figured rather than let Hoops come in and sit there and look like Hollywood Squares, we would get his thoughts today, and we'll do that right now. We're going to go over some of the series, and then we'll finish up with tonight's games. Probably a little spoilers as we talk about some of these 1-8 series, but I'll pull them all up and we'll go in order that they're going to kick off. So, Hoop, let's start with the Utah Jazz. We said we wanted to fade them, and then Luka strained his calf, right? So, this was a team that we were all in, that we were going to be all over this Mavericks team. The Jazz are now minus 335 to win the series. But it feels like we're gambling there, making a bet, right? It doesn't feel like an educated play because we have no idea when Luka Doncic is going to be back. How do you approach this series? Do we just stay away, or did we think that maybe this is a stroke of luck because now we can fade the Jazz at plus 282?
It's certainly very difficult to back the Mavericks here, just not knowing when Luka is going to return. And if the Jazz come out and get the first two games and then Luka returns, it's probably like too late for them. I mean, the Mavs are 100% dependent on the health of Luka, and there's just too much uncertainty around it right now to know. I mean, if you were able to get a good number on the Jazz, like right away, I saw there's still like minus 140 when there was some uncertainty around Luka. Now it's minus 300, makes it difficult. I mean, if we know that Luka's out all series, then yeah, I like the Jazz. And the Jazz catch a big break because they were playing like shit to end the season. So now they catch this real nice break. First round, no Luka, who obviously is the entire Mavericks team. So probably just a stay away now, and unless we get something where Luka is for sure out the entire series, but then you'd have to catch it quick because that number is going to skyrocket. So I guess for me, just to stay away. There's no way I can back the Mavs not knowing when Luka's coming back.
Yeah, it's too bad when you plan to fade these teams and then things turn out this way. Tyler, what do you think of this one? I know we'll get your thoughts more tomorrow, but what do you think of Hoops breakdown there?
I mean, I agree with him. You got to kind of wait, and it's kind of the wait and see with Luka. But what I'm looking for now is to see, because they have series props on FanDuel for the other series where it's like over under 5 games, 6 games. Mm-hmm. I think regardless if he's there or not, that series is going to go 6 games. Like Utah's going to blow a couple games. Dallas is still going to play great defense. They got some guys that can ball handle and set up their offense. So let's see, series total games. Yeah, DraftKings doesn't even have anything for that series either. They just have all the other series. So if I can find one that says like exact games played in that series at 6 at like plus 200, I wouldn't hate betting that.
All right, Hoop, let's go to the team that we saw last night, the Timberwolves and Karl Anthony Towns, man. Time to turn this team over to Anthony Edwards, right? Let's get what you can out of this guy while you can. Let Anthony Edwards lead the way. But these Timberwolves are plus 319 now going up against Memphis. How do you see that series going? Now we have 2 unexperienced teams playing each other, right? Memphis did get a little taste last year, but it was just, the first round loss to Phoenix, if I remember right. Now, they're going to go against this Timberwolves team that, hey, they showed no fear last night, right? Beverly's out there, and Anthony Edwards, he might not be a top 5 player in the league, but he thinks he's a top 5 player in the league. Yeah. And sometimes that's what you need, especially as a big underdog. So what do you think of the Timberwolves? Do they have a shot here, or is this just going to be a Memphis just blowing one away?
I actually like the Timberwolves here in this series. I think they have a chance to get it done. I mean, obviously, they have the guy, one of the best guys to not slow down Ja Morant, but make it hard for him on the court, and Patrick Beverley. And Patrick Beverley is going to be on him, nonstop from start to finish. And it's going to be different than the regular season for Morant. And yes, Morant, offense over defense all day in the NBA. These offensive players can do, whatever they want, but I think Patrick Beverley can do enough here to disrupt this offense a little bit. So I'm going to take the Timberwolves here to upset the Grizzlies. You're getting plus 260. You don't have to go super deep on that, but I don't mind putting a little something on the Timberwolves to advance here.
All right, that's a nice take there, Tyler. What do you think of that? That's already shocking me here. Only 8 minutes into the show.
Don't these two teams hate each other from the regular season? Wasn't there something about that? Doesn't Memphis always get up to play Minnesota?
They might. I can't remember why they would.
I think this was one of the teams where the young guys bark back and forth at each other. So I'm taking Memphis here. Okay. I mean, I think they have the defensive guys to slow down the Minnesota guys. And I mean, Beverly could slow down Ja, but I think he's just going to bark and get him riled up. And it'll be just like last night. He had 3 fouls in the first quarter. So there's going to be a lot of games where he's sitting on the bench doing a lot of that barking.
So when you take the favorite, though, obviously you're not going to lay minus 300. You have to look at other things like
would you think about what we seen from Cat last night against Zubac in a small Clippers front court.
Yeah,
what's he going to do against Adams, Jaren Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark? These guys are going to eat him alive.
Fortunately, last night though, the Timberwolves showed that they don't need him.
I mean,
they're better defensively when he's out.
How much of it was the Clippers pissing that game away at the end, though, and just not being able to do anything, and also playing Zubac when they shouldn't have?
And we were messaging about that, and I said the Zubac minutes were really bad, and I thought that Norman Powell was bad on defense, and that Ty Lue made a mistake by not just going to an all-defensive lineup, and just letting PG run the show. It's like there's only one ball, but there's 5 guys you have to cover. I thought those minutes were pretty weak. So if you did go with Memphis, though, do you think they win it in less than 7? Because you're going to have to lay games there to get a good price if you want that one, Tyler.
Yeah, I would looking at I would just go to the series correct score. I could see them winning it in 6 at plus 360. I could see them winning it in 5 at 3-1. I don't see them sweeping them at 5-1 though. I think Minnesota at least gets one game.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the Raptors and the 76ers. Man, I feel so I like the Raptors here as the trendy dog, but I get a little worried when they are the trendy dog, right? But we broke this game down when these teams played what? It was about a week ago. And the Raptors actually hosted the 76ers. And that was when JSU was on, right? Because JSU was opposite me, right? Tyler and you and I were both on the Raptors. Of course, that game was played in Toronto. No Matisse Thybulle when they play there. They'll be starting in Philadelphia. Am I going to lay down with that public dog and get fleas here, Hoop? What do you think?
I'm with you, man. I'm going Toronto here. I mean, I think I love about Toronto in the playoffs. Their best players are going to be on the court like the entire game. Like they're rolling their starters and their best guys for 40 plus minutes in close games. And I like what they can do here. I mean, obviously the big question mark is, do they have anything to contain Joel Embiid a little bit? I mean, probably not. No one does in the NBA, but I just think these starters being out on the court, we saw Siakam have that monster game at the end of the season. I like the Raptors here. I like their squad. They're a well-rounded team. Give me them here against the 76ers.
All right, you're with me there, Tyler. We talked about this before, and when it was just a single game in Toronto, you like the Raptors, but now it's a 7-game series where Game 7 would be played in Philadelphia. What do you think?
I mean, this is a tough one. I could definitely see it go in 7 or 6 games. I don't see either team just beating up on the other one. I think this could be one of them series where Embiid averages like 35 and 16, and they end up losing the series because he's not getting much help. I know there's the video of Harden practicing. He looked very good in that, but that's a practice video. We've seen Ben Simmons practice videos.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was going to say, right?
So,
and Carmelo's like an MVP in those videos.
Yeah, I'm not picking a winner in this one. Series total games, 6 games plus 205, 7 games plus 180. I'm just going to try and scrape my profit. Can you just get
like an over 6.5?
You probably could, but the way I'm looking at it, I could just take the plus money on both of those.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good way to approach it. Denver Nuggets. This is another one that's tough for us, Hoop, right? Because we don't know about Steph here. I guess I can look on Basketball Monster and see if they're going to give me something. He's questionable, so they don't even have like a time frame. So he's questionable for Saturday, but boy, I mean, talk about how much Luka means to that team. I think the Warriors can absorb his loss a little better if we're talking regular season. But in the playoffs, I think it's going to be tough without Steph as good as Klay Thompson ended the season here. I'm definitely not looking forward to Lane minus 212 unless I know that he's there for sure and that he's healthy. So right now, this is kind of like the Dallas series. It's kind of up in the air for me. Do you think I'm missing like an opportunity here to get some value? Or
man, it's super tough. I mean, if he's out, like at least a couple of games, I definitely have some interest in the Nuggets. But the problem with the Nuggets is, man, is there any word on Murray or Porter Jr.?
On this Basketball Monster?
They already said Murray's not coming back. Underdog put it out like a couple days ago.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, I sent it to you.
Oh, I must have missed it.
That team is just, such a disaster when Jokic is not on the court. Now in the playoffs, he'll probably play, 40-some minutes a game. He'll barely come off the court, but can he do that for, 6-7 games? I don't know. For me, this is just, a stay away. I'm not going to really bet either side of it. I don't know. I mean, you just kind of need a little more information on this one, but it would be so hard for the Nuggets to make a run if one of those guys doesn't return. So I'm not going to bet either side of this one.
Yeah. We the People says Warriors in 7. He thinks Steph will be back. What do you think, Tyler?
I think Warriors win, but I'm with Hoop. I'm not putting any money in this series.
Yeah, because it's a minus 200 too. I mean, I'm not really.
I think this is another series where you have Jokic put up monster numbers, and they lose the series in maybe 5 games, 5 to 6 games. So that's about it for that series. I wouldn't bet on it though.
All right, and for Sunday, the Brooklyn Nets are plus 132 against the Celtics. A lot of people I know like the Celtics here. I'm thinking not so fast, man. I don't know if I want to go against this Brooklyn team. And I understand watching the game last night, we saw plenty of flaws, right? It's a two-man offense, and they do have holes defensively. But those two guys are a lot more trustworthy and a lot better than the other two. And Jason Tatum's great, but he can also have those games where he doesn't show up. And same with Jaylen Brown. I mean, Jaylen Brown's a great player, right? But it's just not at the level as your secondary piece on offense. Is let's be honest, the Nets have Kyrie Irving as their second option. I mean, that's just absolutely ridiculous. And he showed last night. Now, will he get those same easy open looks that he got against Cleveland? You know, not sure. Doubt it. You know, if Boston misses open shots and lets them get in transition like Cleveland did, of course. But that's not going to happen more games than not. But I don't know. I don't think that the Celtics are this big shoe-in like a lot of other people do. I think this is a great matchup for Brooklyn. I think it's a great matchup for us as fans with the history between Kyrie Irving and Brooklyn. So right now I'm leaning towards Brooklyn, but I haven't got involved, and I'm glad I get to wait and see how the market plays out. Hoop, what do you think of this one? This is the most fascinating round one series, I think.
Yeah, and it's the one I have the most confidence in, and it's the one I've already bet. I'm going with the Nets, man. I mean, you're going to give me plus money, and I get the two best guys on the basketball court all series long. Sign me up. I'll take my chances with Durant and Kyrie Irving. And then think about the Celtics. Think about when the Celtics kind of turned it on this season. It was at the end of the season, playing a bunch of, teams where guys were resting. And yes, they had some signature wins along the way, but it was at the end of the season when they were beating up on some, crappy teams, resting guys. You're going to give me plus money with the two best guys on the court. I'll take my chances. I love the Nets here to advance.
Hoop likes the Nets. What do you think, Tyler?
I think it's going to be a hard-fought series. This is another one I'm probably not going to bet. I see the point on taking the Nets because you do get the two best players. But is this going to be one of those series where it comes down to team basketball and those guys' legs give out after about 4 games? Because you seen it last night, unless they're staggering them, the moment they come off the floor, they can't do anything. God forbid one of them gets hurt. So I'm just going to stay away from this series. It's going to be fun to watch, but I can't bet the Celtics at minus 150, and I can't bring myself to pull the trigger on the Nets at plus 120.
I got plus 132. Which way do you think this market goes? Let's say I haven't got there yet, right? But I think Hoop makes good points, and that's where I was leaning already. So let's say I want to get involved with the Nets. Do I do it now, or do you think Boston will take money between now and Sunday?
I mean, so far it's moved in the direction of the Celtics because it kind of opened. It was like the Nets were minus 110 to minus 120, and it's.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't see the opener.
So that's what FanDuel had it. FanDuel or DraftKings had it. And DraftKings is still around that, I believe. DraftKings has it. Now the Nets are plus 110. It was minus.
So I have a 20-cent better price than you.
I bet it on I bet it on FanDuel. FanDuel has it plus 120.
Okay, might get in on that right now. Tyler, which way do you think this goes?
Everyone's going to bet the Nets. Everyone wants to bet the more popular team with the better players. They're also one of the 3 top teams to win the finals. Mm-hmm. So people are going to look at those odds, see their plus money to win the first round. They're like, oh, it's free money.
All right. We the people agrees. He says do it now. All right. Thanks, guys. I have a couple minutes. I'm not placing it while we speak, but I've definitely got that in mind, and it sounds like I do need to pull the trigger quickly. This next one, Tyler, I think it's just like the exact series price, and I think you do 4-0 or 4-1 for the Milwaukee Bucks. I just can't decide if I think the Chicago Bulls win the game, but we talked about this team last week, Hoop, and we said these Chicago Bulls, right? We're looking forward to fade them in the playoffs. They're not going to be able to get a stop, and the Bucks are just too good. Minus 1,200, so no way to get involved. I'm not even throwing them in a parlay because, maybe the plane crashes or something, right? Just too much, but I don't know. Do the Bulls get a game? Do I bet 4-0 here?
I don't know. It's super annoying because I wish the Bulls played anybody else first round because we would have got such a good number. And we talked. It was last week we talked about it. As soon as that number comes out, we're firing another team, and of course they get the Bucks where it's going to be the largest spread by far. And it was hovering around 600 for a little bit, then it went to 7. Now it's just ballooned to minus 1,000, minus 1,200. It's just unplayable, unfortunate, unless you have just shit ton of money sitting around and you want to get 10-1 on it because they are going to advance. I think if Giannis went down, they'd still beat this Bulls team, and Bulls are so fraud. I mean, we talked about it last week in depth. So, I mean, you can't get involved here, unfortunately. We drew the worst possible matchup in terms of like the number we were going to get from the book. Yeah. So you just, move on.
Tyler, what do you think here? Do I go a 4-0 sweep? Do I do a 4-1?
I think you bet them both because you can get plus 240 on the sweep and plus 190 on the 4-1. I don't see the Bulls winning more than one game, so I'll take my chances there.
I don't either. All right, so that's a quick preview, and of course, guys, we'll be doing a little more in depth tomorrow, and I'll have some more matchup based stuff. But I spent most of my time today preparing for these two games tonight, so I can't wait to get into them. And then, of course, we'll have the preview show with no games tomorrow, so it'll be just all previews tomorrow, and we are going to do the Eastern Conference tomorrow, Western Conference on Friday. But tonight, we're going to find out who's going to be playing on Friday as the Charlotte Hornets head to Atlanta to take on the Hawks. Hawks are now -6. They've taken a little money. That makes sense to me. The over is 235 plus 196 if you think the Hornets get it done. I'll tell you what, Hoop, I kind of wimped out here. My favorite play here is the over. I think it's a pretty good line set by the sports books, and the fact that both those games went under last night, I thought gave me a little edge because, I don't think people are going to be running to bet an over tonight after seeing that kind of playoff style that we saw last night. But I think we saw teams that were more built to play that playoff style, right? Clippers, very good on defense. I was even complaining they didn't use the defensive lineup there at the end. Cavaliers, definitely a slower half-court team when they're running Mobley and Markkanen and Love around, right? Not guys that are known for getting up and down the court. The exact opposite spot tonight, right? Where, even Capella, one of the faster true 7-footers in the league to get up and down the floor. Okongwu's going to run with these guys, and both these teams want to get out and run. And of all the teams in the play, and these teams have the two highest 3-point attempt percentage. So not necessarily going in, but just the number of threes they throw up, highest percentage there. So I expect a lot of 3-pointers. I expect a high-paced game. I like the over. And if I'm taking a side, I'll take the Hawks, but they priced me out of it, man. I think 6 is a pretty good number here. What do you think, Hoop?
Yeah, if you give me like 4, Hawks -4, I'm all over. I think the Hawks win this game. I like them in this spot, but the 6 just it takes it out of play for me, unfortunately. Like I said, I think they win this game. Do they win by more than 6? I don't know. I'm not very confident to say that. So probably just pass for me, unfortunately. Like I said, I like the Hawks to win. Fantasy-wise, though, this is the spot to be. This is the game I think that you want the exposure to for all the reasons you said. I mean, I love that over, too. I mean, these teams, not much defense, fast up and down. They have a lot of athletics guys up there. They'll all push the pace. Trae Young is the premier fantasy option on the slate. He's 10-6 on DK. He's the guy I want in, all my lineups if possible. It is tough with the other pieces on the Hawks. I mean, Bogdanović, I think, is a fine play at 5'7". Had some big games towards the end of the season. Just a really good matchup for these guys. So it would be like Trae and Bogdanović would be my guys. And then on the Hornet side, Miles Bridges has a good price on DK at 7-1. Terry Rozier is only 6'8", so you can get 2 pretty key guys there for right around 7K. And then LaMelo's 9-7. I don't love that price tag. I'd probably get that 2-for-1. The Bridges and Rozier combo over like Ball and another cheap guy. So that's kind of how I'm looking at this game. But like I said, you want the core guys, I think, from this game over the core guys from the next game. And it is a little more difficult, playing DFS because it's only 2 games here. And these starters, or at least the main guys, are going to play so many minutes. So there's not a ton of like cheap guys that we can go to. So it makes building rosters a little more difficult because there's just really not many cheap guys. I mean, I think you can play a guy like Mason Plumlee here at 4K. Not going to play like a ton of minutes, but just hope that he gets it done in a short period of time, which he has been able to do throughout his career. So, the difficulty in building teams tonight is the fact that we don't have a ton of value. So you kind of have to side with guys like Rozier and Bridges over a guy like LaMelo Ball, especially if you're playing Trae Young at 10-6. It's really hard to go, Trae Young and LaMelo. you're done at that point. Like, you're not going to be able to get any of these, key guys in there. So Trey is a guy I'm prioritizing tonight, and then probably like the secondary pieces for the Hornets.
And so yesterday I was saying to Travis, and I think it definitely applies to you as well, that I would think that guys like you and Travis that are really good at the cash games would excel in the playoffs, even on the GPP side, because you're more used to building balanced lineups, right? Of the people that you can count on with the mid-range players. Do you feel that it gives you an advantage, or do you have a little more confidence going into the playoffs, knowing that you know how to use these 7K guys and these 6K guys a little better than the normal GPP stars and scrubs route?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the build's a little bit different in the playoffs. Like, you just, the GPPs are, a lot of times you're going stars and scrubs, and you're hoping you get a 3K guy that goes off for 30, and then you can get your superstars that get the 70 fantasy point game. Just those guys don't exist really in the playoffs. So you have to have the mindset of building, I guess, safer, more balanced type team. So yeah, I think the mindset is very important in the playoffs.
All right, Tyler, I think Hoop gave a great breakdown, and I got to give props to this chatter right here. Scott Foster talking about himself here. What a performance last night, and great creativity from the chat there. Tyler, sounds like we both like the over, and we think this is a good line. Are we missing something here? What do you think?
No, I mean, if you like Atlanta here, I think it's definitely a good line. I think they win the game, but if that line's going to keep ballooning up, I'll gladly take all the points on Charlotte. Because I think they're going to cover. I only think Atlanta's going to win by 3 to 4 points. So as for the side, give me Charlotte, but Atlanta wins the game. I mean, both teams finished the season strong. Atlanta was 11-1 in their last 12 home games. So you got to think that's the thing that's pushing this number too. All the people are seeing that. They're like, oh, I'll just bet Atlanta to win this game, throw them in a parlay. Charlotte did hold Trae Young to a season low 9 points in one of their 4 meetings, and they split
the most recent one.
Yep. Yeah. And they split 2-2 in those meetings. You were talking about 3-point attempts. Charlotte ranks 3rd in 3-point percentage in road games this year. Atlanta ranks 2nd at home in 3-point percentage. So all those threes they're going to attempt tonight, I think a lot of them are going to be falling. So it makes me lean towards the over with you guys. We know the trend with shooting guards against Atlanta. They do well. 24 points, 3 threes, 5 assists. Rozier's in a perfect spot for a big game, I think. And then as for the other side, you look at the center, power forward, and shooting guard stats. 24 points, 16 rebounds, 24 points, 2 threes, 13 rebounds, 24 points, 4 threes. You got to think guys like Capella, Gallo, Herter, Bogdan, and even Trae Young are in for big games right here. So I'd be looking at their props.
All right, so I got them pulled up real quick. Who do you like here? So you like Rozier? So they switched.
I like Rozier the most on the Charlotte side.
All right, let me see what number I got on Bookmaker right now. They've switched. They don't have them all on the same page here for Bookmaker.
I like his points, rebounds, and assists at 29.5.
So his points is 20 for me on here.
I think he
offshore.
could clear that.
He's 30.5 on PRA. Which one do you like more?
I like his PRA a little better.
Okay, I'm going to put that in right now. And then we're going to go to the Atlanta side. And who were you saying that we should be targeting here?
I'd say like Kevin Herter, Gallinari, Bogdan, and Trae Young, and even Clint Capella with a double-double.
Okay, I don't have double-double props here, but Herter is over 12.5 points. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't mind that prop either. I like the Bogdan one better because you figure he's going to be playing Charlotte's second unit. He's going to tear them up.
He's 17.5. I have to eat some juice, though, if I take it. Do you think it's worth it?
What's his threes prop for you?
They don't do threes on Bookmaker. I have to get a bet online.
I was about to say, because I see 3.5 at plus money on his threes. I like that a lot because he shoots.
You like that better?
Yeah.
If I like Bogdan better, or if I go for Bogdan, I don't have to lay juice here on PRA. I can get him at 24.5 on points, rebounds, assists. Do you think that I can get the 7 extra there, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate that, but I didn't really.
And then I don't have to lay the huge juice.
But I didn't really look into his assists and his rebounds, so I don't know how much that helps his numbers.
All right, well, I'll put a small one in there right now. And any other Hawks you think that I should be looking for here?
I mean, not
Trey's
outside,
the obvious one.
Yeah, not outside of the obvious ones.
30.5. I mean, they pretty much priced me out of there. I say that's a good line and just call it a day, or should I still hit it?
On
Trae Young.
What, his points?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't hit the 30.5.
Yeah, and his PRA is 46.5.
No, I'd stay away from that too.
Yeah, I'm fine there. But what I did think that would be fun, and I thought this is where you're going to go, was the player performance double. Who would you mix there? Because I think that way we get. You guys are so good at this. You've been doing this all year, right? You guys in the chat, like we the people, right? And Kevin Clune and Otter. You guys find these player performance doubles, so we don't have to. When I say, "Hey, this line's right," you can still make money off the game. What do you think the best player performance double is for this Hawks Hornets game? If you like the Hawks side,
The Capella double and win at plus 120.
Capella, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense with the way the Hornets go against centers.
They started to move his minutes up towards the end of the year. Yeah. Now it's a winner go home game. He's gonna play a ton of minutes right here.
Okay. All right. I can see that Capella double there. Almost like the points are free, so it's just like Capella plus 10 rebounds there. Not a bad look at all. All right. Anything more on this game before we move on?
Just the other performance doubles I would look at would be like Gallinari 3+3s and win at plus 210. Mm-hmm. Herter 15+ points and win at plus 230. Bogdanovich 22+ points and win at plus 265. And do they have a Bogdanovich 3s one listed? I'm not seeing 4+3s and win on him, and at plus 190 would be the other one I'd look at.
Okay, excellent. I think those are good ways to approach this game because give credit to the bookmakers. I think this -6 is a good line. Well, the market helped a little bit too because I think it opened at 5 or 5.5, right? But hey, I think they did a good job setting this line, and I think this should be another fun game tonight. The San Antonio Spurs are in New Orleans taking on the Pelicans. Spurs 3-1 against the Pelicans this year, but they're still catching 5 points. They won both games in New Orleans this year. So if you like that to continue, plus 186 on the money line here. Total much lower here at 224, and rightfully so. I think that these teams will play a slower pace than the last game. That doesn't mean I don't think the game will be as exciting. A lot of fun here, but you got to think that the Pelicans have a nice advantage with CJ McCollum's playoff experience. He had some great games in that Western Conference Finals run, even if they weren't going against the best opposition. They kind of ran pure to make that Western Conference Finals that year, right? He had some good performances. He understands the stage. He understands the limelight. And, compared to guys like DeJounte Murray, Keldon Johnson on the other side, are going to be new to it, especially with how many veterans are off that Spurs roster. Maybe that helps a little bit here. I'll tell you what, Hoop, I'm completely torn on this game. My numbers tell me to take the Pelicans, but it just doesn't feel right. So I have not gotten involved yet. And in fact, I lean towards taking the Spurs just because of their previous success head-to-head against this team. What do you think?
Yeah, I kind of like the Spurs here in this spot. I mean, I just view this as more of like a toss-up game. You're going to give me 5.5 points. I'll, take that gladly. So if betting a game tonight, this would be the spot for me. It'd be the Spurs. I'd take the points. I think we see a close competitive battle. You have, Popovich, ton of playoff experience here. I think they can do enough to at least keep this game close. So give me the Spurs. Fantasy-wise, though, this game is a little more difficult, especially on the Spurs side. Yes, we feel good about DeJounte Murray, a phenomenal season. I mean, he's been phenomenal from a fantasy standpoint, but can you play him over Trae Young? Because that's probably a decision that you have to make. Difficult to play both of them because of what I said in that last game. There's just no value. So you got to choose one. I have to play Trae over DeJounte, and it's like not even close. Like Trae Young, I think, is maybe 7-8 fantasy points better just from a projection standpoint. I think the ceiling is higher for Trae Young as well with all the threes that he's probably going to make tonight. So hard to play DeJounte on this slate. The rest of the Spurs guys, again, difficult outside of Pirtle. You can trust Pirtle. If you got a team and he's in there, 6.6K, totally fine playing him. But the next group of guys, it's just who knows who's going to step up and have the big game. Keldon Johnson was good down the stretch. He's now 7K. I don't think I can pay 7K for him. They have Lonnie Walker, Vassell. They're going to use Josh Richardson, Primo. There's just so many guys that could be the, number 3, number 4 guy in terms of, the big games here. So, I'd maybe if you're making 150 teams, mix in all those secondary guys, get some exposure. But it's very difficult to pinpoint, who the guy is going to be outside of DeJounte and probably Pirtle. And then on the Pelican side, I think they're more in play. So it's one of those situations where I like the Spurs in this game, but Fantasy-wise, I'd probably lean the Pelicans because the price tags. You got, Brandon Ingram at 8.3K. That's a fair price tag. We talked about it. You probably can't go multiple high-end studs tonight. So Brandon Ingram fits in nicely at 8.3K. And then, you can look at CJ McCollum at 9K. We talked about it, the playoff experience and everything. Substantially cheaper than DeJounte Murray. You're talking $1,800 cheaper. Like, that savings goes a long way on a 2-game playoff slate. Valanciunas at, that's not a good 8.6. That is difficult. 8.6. I don't know if I can go 8.6 for Valanciunas. I'd much prefer Ingram and CJ McCollum. And Herbert Jones, I think, is interesting. Not a ton of value. He's 4.5K. He's going to be out there a ton. I'd be willing to take a chance on him. So, like, ranking the plays from this game, it would probably be Ingram, McCollum, and then Herbert Jones. The Spurs side, just very, very difficult. Definitely my least favorite team fantasy-wise out of the 4 on the slate.
Yeah, and they've been a tough team all year, right? And credit, I guess, to Popovich, but they are a balanced team, right? And you can count on Murray as that spend-up guy. But finding the value obviously, there's preparation. People find advantages here and there. A little bit of luck involved too, right? Is we never know who's going to get hot. They do a good job of feeding the hot hand, but sometimes it definitely is tough to prognosticate. Tyler, sounds like we're both leaning towards the Spurs, but we are not sold. What do you think of this one?
I think this is a tough one. I don't really want to pick a side in this one. I kind of like the over in this game because Murray's not going to play much defense. CJ McCollum, these guys have the experience in these games. At least a few of these guys on this team do, to help the young guys out. To where the Spurs, you look at their core, like, I don't see a guy on that team that has playoff experience. Do you guys? Like, they're all young.
I mean, Podol played a little bit with those Raptors teams that got smacked, but I don't even think he got run.
Yeah, so he was just kind of there. Yeah, so I could see this being one where the Pelicans come out and they look like
Josh Richardson.
Yeah, so Josh Richardson. But yeah, I could see the Pelicans taking it to him in the first half and being up like 15, and then they slowly start to work it back and they cover the spread, but the Pelicans still win. So that's going to be my pick for the game. I think the Pelicans win, but I would wait and see if you can get a better number on them live. Okay. The CJ McCollum props are my favorite. 25.5 on his points, 3.5 on his threes, 30.5 on his points plus assists. And then with Brandon Ingram back, I like his points, rebounds, and assists, because if it's not CJ McCollum doing it, it's Brandon Ingram. His points, rebounds, and assists are set at 36.5. I like that also. And then the player performance doubles I like in this game. Of course, you could go to Joe Val double and win, but it's minus 120. I like Ingram 25 plus and win at plus 180. Mm-hmm. We seen it with Ant last night. Big guys step up in these games. Ingram should be one of these guys that steps up in these games. He could have a big game right here. CJ McCollum 28 plus points and win plus 205, 4 plus threes and win at the same price. And even if you can find a CJ McCollum, here it is, 8 plus assists in New Orleans wins plus 430 would be the other one I would look at.
So I got McCollum 36.5 on the PRA. You like that?
Yeah, I don't hate that. I think he's good for about 25 to 30 points tonight. Because DeJounte Murray doesn't play much
27 a game, but Ingram's been out a lot. So, and that line moved 4 cents right before I got in there. So,
and then the prop I like on the other side, DeJounte Murray's points plus rebounds is set at 32.5. I think that number's way too low for him.
You like that better than the PRA?
Yeah.
How come?
If you look back at his numbers, let me pull them up real quick. Kind of put me on the spot right there.
Well, yeah, I know. To me, that's always when you're doing the props, you identify a player that you think will do well, like Hoop says fantasy wise, but then, do you want to go points? Do you want to go points, rebounds? Do you want to go PRA?
Yeah, here's his game log. 33 points, 13 rebounds, 33.7 rebounds, 15 and 11, 28 and 6, 19 and 6, 17 and 9, 26 and 9, 30 and 4, 27 and 9.
Okay, so you don't want to inflate it with the assists. Got it.
No, I'm just leaving it out because the assist inflates it by about 10 points.
All right, guys in the chat seem to like Devin Vassell here. He's over 13.5. What are your thoughts on that one, Tyler?
I don't hate it because it's a low number, but every time I bet him, he goes 0 for 7 from the field, so can't bet Devin Vassell.
Well, Kevin, he's not going to bet it for you, so you're safe in that play because We the People likes that one as well. So, all right, that's a lot of fun. I got some good props in there. And you do like the over here tonight. And hey, I think that would be a cool bounce back, right? I think that a little difference between 7-8 and 9-10, right? And these teams just really aren't as good. For example, I would say that last night we watched the Brooklyn Nets. We watched a legitimate championship contender. I don't think I'm going to get that feeling tonight. As good as Atlanta was last year, I mean, I will be absolutely shocked. And I would say I'd do something ridiculous, but I can't think of anything on top of my head right now. But I would be shocked if they were able to win the title last year, right? So these teams are just trying to build momentum, build some confidence, grab that experience, become a better team and a better organization through this experience, but not real contenders tonight. So with the drop off in play, we the people is going to hate this, but usually it's correlated to drop off in defense. And so that's what happens tonight. I like both overs here tonight. So I agree with you there as well. So there we have it. We gave you a playoff series preview of the numbers that we have up right now. And we gave you a more in-depth look at tonight's games. Is there anything else I missed, Hoop, that we need to address before we get to the best bets?
No, I mean, it's exciting. NBA playoffs, fun time. And, we have obviously MLB. I know Joey works on a nice little heater, MLB
nice.
wise. Yeah. I mean, Dude just crushes MLB. Super impressive. So all his picks are up on the website each and every day, does his videos as well. PGA kicking off tomorrow morning. We have our showdown content. Always a lot going on, and the USFL starting. We have, I think, our guy Bruce is going to be covering USFL. So everything covered over here at Run Pier.
I totally forgot about that. That's how knee deep I've been between the tennis and the NBA. I got tennis going to about 1 p.m. my time now, and then the NBA starts at before. USFL. Okay, I'll definitely be tailing. I don't have time to cap that. All right, Tyler. So our little preview hopefully gave you some time there to work up your best bet. What do you got for us today, Tyler? Side total prop, best bet.
Yeah, I'm going to take that CJ McCollum over 31.5 points plus assists. I think he's going to put up a big number today.
Great. All right. I love it because I'm with you there on the PRA. Hoop, what's your best bet for today?
Just going with the Spurs. I'll take the points in that game. I think we have a close competitive game there. And I think the Spurs can win or at least keep it close. So give me the Spurs plus the 5 or 5.5.
All right. I'm joining you on that one. You guys have talked me into it. My best bet for the day is the over 235 here. And like I said, I think that if last night would have gone a little different, this number would have been run up. And by the time we had the show, it would have been at like 237, 238, because I think everybody would have been running to bet the over last night. But I think 2 unders gave us a little bit of market value where the money's coming in evenly. That number is going to sit there, and I really like it a lot. I talked about how much they shoot threes, and Tyler talked about how much they make threes. So that's recipe for a high score. And, of course, that's the game you guys will be targeting there with your runpuresports.com cores. Make sure if you're not a member that you join. Use that promo code GETBETS to become a member, get access to the cores. And, of course, the final countdown's fun right now. So you can get the final countdown, which is behind the paywall, because the DFS content now only 1 show a day, as Run Pure Sports is now featuring Major League Baseball content on that free time slot there. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. Promo code GETBETS. Hoop, what great content do we have this week that I left out?
I think we covered it. Like I said, PGA, all the content should be up on the website, and then we'll have our showdown content as well. Baseball, I mean, multiple slates every day, early, late. We have it all covered. You got the Mangone and Friends show every morning.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I like that.
Yeah, bringing on some guests, covering the MLB slate, whatever else pops up. So that's something to tune in. Just a ton of stuff going on, ton of stuff.
All right. And Tyler, are we doing a home run today, or are they going to have to just jump in the Discord for that?
That'll be in the Discord today.
All right. Yeah. It's a little harder now, guys.
2-game slate. You can't do much with that.
Yeah. You got to give Tyler a little more time to cook it up. But of course, that's great value to the members of runpuresports.com. Promo code GETBETS. Tomorrow, we will be back. I know there's no NBA, but we're still going to be here kicking it with you. Tomorrow will be the Eastern Conference preview. JSU will be on. He usually comes on Thursday. Travis is going to come on. Boy, that guy's not going to stop working. He'll be on at my time, 8 a.m. Eastern, then noon. What a hardworking guy that is. So we appreciate that. And then, Tyler, you'll like this, right? Our guy that did so many shows with us last year, and he and I really connected rooting for those Bucks. Titletown's going to be with us tomorrow. And then on Friday, it'll be myself, Tyler, AP, and Glaucoma to do the final games, Cleveland versus whoever and Clippers versus whoever. And then, of course, we're going to preview the Western Conference that day. And so Glocks, he's over the arena right now, paying off trainers, trying to get MRIs. So he's going to give us the inside info there on that Luka Doncic injury, so we can make a smart, informed bet. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Hey, well-behaved chat today. They didn't even push my button. So I don't know if I appreciate that or not. I know that the people do like it when I go off, but appreciate all you guys jumping in the chat, man. Of course, we the people giving out the winners. Otter in the over, Robert, Otter's talking about Keldon Johnson props. We definitely agree with you there. Kevin Clunan in here hanging out with us. So we appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Let's cash some tickets tonight.